Hello everyone, and welcome to my Sister Wives For You channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The headlines blazed across every screen in Flagstaff and beyond. Kody Brown arrested. And for many, especially Janelle, it felt like the thunderclap after a long, stormy season of deception, arrogance, and financial smoke and mirrors finally coming to a dramatic and legal head. After years of evading consequences, mismanaging funds, and acting with a holier-than-thou smugness, while the women who built his world walked away with nothing, Kody Brown was finally being forced to face something he couldn't dodge with a shrug or a deflection: the law. Court documents were unsealed late Monday morning, revealing that a judge in Coconino County had not only ordered Kody's arrest after months of investigation, but had also filed a civil lawsuit naming both Kody and Robyn Brown in a sweeping legal takedown that spanned alleged financial improprieties, property fraud involving Coyote Pass, and even wrongful misrepresentation in prior court declarations tied to the polygamist family's assets and child support history. The jaw-dropping nature of the charges left fans reeling, but not Janelle. No, she had waited for this day. She'd felt it coming. After all, hadn't she warned him that the way he played with family money, channeling resources into Robyn's oversized house while leaving other wives in trailers and motels, would eventually catch up with him? Hadn't she screamed through tears that she was walking away from the marriage with nothing, while he strutted around pretending to be wealthy and righteous? The smug image of Kody grinning through years of chaos now clashed sharply with the mugshot released, his once proud mane now flattened, his expression weary and confused, the fire in his eyes dulled by a reality he couldn't manipulate. As news of the arrest broke, cameras caught Janelle exiting her modest rental in North Carolina with a phone in one hand and a coffee mug in the other, barefaced, calm, and grinning ear to ear. "Oh, I've been waiting for this," she said when asked by reporters if she had heard the news. And then, as she turned and headed toward her car, she clapped. Loudly. And unapologetically. "Accountability matters," she said, looking straight at the camera. Meanwhile, inside the Flagstaff courthouse, whispers painted a picture of what really happened. A judge had finally had enough of the financial dance Kody and Robyn had performed for nearly a decade. It wasn't just about favoritism. It was about the trail of loans, undocumented property shuffles, and alleged misuse of family LLCs that had quietly propped up Robyn's lavish lifestyle, while the other wives were told the money had dried up. The court cited suspicious transfers from family business accounts into joint ventures controlled solely by Kody and Robyn, land reassignment documents that had missing signatures, and a shocking letter from a former accountant who testified, anonymously, that Kody repeatedly funneled shared family money into Robyn's mortgage and online business expenses without informing the other spouses. And now, the civil suit was demanding a forensic audit, back payments to Janelle and Mary, and the potential seizure of Coyote Pass land until the ownership disputes were legally resolved. Even Christine, now happily remarried and living her best life, chimed in from Utah with a scorching Instagram post. "The truth always comes out. Some people never respected partnership. They only knew control. I hope justice brings peace to those of us who built that family." Robyn, for her part, was said to be shaken by the charges, holed up in the Flagstaff mansion with a closed gate and a no trespassing sign suddenly reinstalled. Sources claimed she had cried when officers arrived at their home to serve the warrant, and that she tried to insist she was just the legal wife, not involved in business matters. But the court filings told a different story: documents with her signature on joint accounts, emails where she authorized fund transfers, and even internal communications from my sister wife's closet showing Robyn signed off on budget reallocations that had been quietly diverted away from Janelle's business ventures. As for Kody, his defense seemed weak at best, pleading confusion, claiming that family money is emotional, not literal, and insisting that the wives had always known how things were done. But the judge wasn't buying it. What this court sees is a long history of opaque financial decisions made by one man, benefiting one household, while other family members were led to believe they were equally cared for, the judge wrote in the preliminary opinion. And just like that, Kody's kingdom, built on charm, control, and manipulation, began to fall. But for Janelle, this wasn't just about justice. It was about vindication. It was about every time she was called bitter for walking away. Every time she asked where the money went and was given gaslighting instead of answers. Every time she had to explain to her children why their dad had a favorite household. Her clap wasn't petty. It was powerful. It was for every woman who had ever been told to just go along to keep the peace. It was for the years of silence, the quiet suffering, the gaslight reality of plural marriage gone wrong. And as the world watched the downfall of Kody Brown unfold like a televised reckoning, Janelle didn't gloat. She simply stood tall, finally free from the fog, and finally watching justice do what Kody never did, own up to the truth. As the sun dipped low over Flagstaff, casting long shadows over the now infamous gated property at the edge of town, Robyn Brown stood frozen in the foyer of the lavish home she once believed would be her family's forever sanctuary, her dream home, her prize, her castle built on the illusion of loyalty. But tonight, none of it felt secure. Not the towering ceilings or expensive furnishings. Not the ornate mirror she'd bought for the entryway. Not even the security gate that had once been her boundary against the judgment of the world. Because the judge's lawsuit was real, and it was coming for everything, including her mansion, her savings, and most terrifying of all, her control. When the second court notice arrived, this time hand-delivered and signed with urgency, Robyn's carefully curated world cracked right down the center. The language was cold, direct, and damning. Due to financial entanglement and ongoing investigation into alleged misappropriation of shared marital assets, the court reserves the right to seize physical property linked to the disputed funds, including the residence at address redacted. It wasn't just legal jargon. It was the clearest message yet. Her kingdom, built on Kody's favoritism and years of silent compliance, was about to collapse. The woman who once cried about not wanting to be the favorite was now realizing that being the chosen one had come with a bill she could no longer afford to pay. As the legal reality crashed over her like a tidal wave, Robyn collapsed to the floor of the living room, sobbing uncontrollably, her face buried in the designer rug that had once felt like a trophy. The kids had been sent to their rooms, the blinds had been pulled tight, and her phone was silent. Kody, still in jail awaiting his arraignment and under a gag order, couldn't call her. And no one was calling to comfort her. No producers. No siblings. No sister wives. Especially not Mary, who had, in a stunning turn of events, taken to Instagram Live just hours earlier from her Utah B&B, sipping herbal tea with a glittering smirk as fans flooded her feed with questions. "Oh, you heard the news?" Mary asked with faux innocence, swirling her tea slowly. "Yeah, I read something about a mansion on the chopping block. Must be tough. I mean, I had a house in Flagstaff, too. But I had to sell it and figure things out on my own. I didn't cry about it on camera for 3 seasons. She laughed softly, almost sweetly. Anyway, blessings. Viewers lost their minds. The comments exploded. Mary's laughing now. Petty and perfect. She finally said it. And as Mary logged off, word quickly spread that Janelle had joined a friend for brunch, where, according to a now viral video, she leaned back in her chair, holding an iced tea, and said, "If the mansion goes up for auction, I might just bid. Wouldn't it be poetic?" She sipped her drink. "I could finally use Robyn's walk-in closet for something useful, like storing all my receipts." The crowd roared with laughter. Robyn, meanwhile, was spiraling. She'd spent years defending her marriage to Kody, insisting he was just misunderstood, that the other wives had walked away too soon, that love should look like sacrifice and loyalty no matter how unequal the playing field had become. But now, with the state digging through financial records, court filings proving that joint marital assets had been diverted exclusively into her household, and screenshots of budget breakdowns showing how Mary and Janelle had unknowingly funded portions of Robyn's mortgage, she couldn't defend anything anymore. Not to the world. Not to the court. Not even to herself. Her lawyers were scrambling. One even advised her to separate herself legally from Kody's businesses and consider liquidating personal assets to avoid deeper financial penalties. And with the mansion's value estimated at over $1.2 million, it was target number one for restitution, especially since the court now had evidence that money meant for shared land development at Coyote Pass had instead gone into Robyn's backyard landscaping and surveillance system. Robyn had cried about being misunderstood. She had begged for peace. But now, no amount of tears could wash away the paper trail. And for many fans, especially those rooting for Janelle and Mary after years of quiet endurance, this wasn't cruelty. It was long overdue consequence. A reckoning. A shift in power. And as the legal proceedings gained traction, it was clear that this wasn't just a financial mess. It was a collapse of a narrative Kody and Robyn had built for years, that they were the stable center, the moral compass, the ones who stayed loyal. But loyalty, as it turned out, wasn't free. And the cost? Their empire, their image, possibly their entire way of life. Back in jail, Kody reportedly sat in stunned silence when handed the lawsuit documents. He read the judge's name. He read the line about abuse of plural trust and mismanagement of collective spousal resources. He saw the mention of multiple counts of deceptive property filings. And when asked for a response, he allegedly said, "They just don't understand how our family worked." But the court did understand. The judge had spoken. And the wives, at least the ones who had walked away, weren't buying into Kody's excuse-laden philosophy anymore. Mary laughed. Janelle clapped. And Christine? She posted a new family photo with her husband David and their kids, captioned, "Peace looks good on us." As for Robyn, her mansion may still stand for now, but the walls are thin, the truth is loud, and the world is watching. And this time, there's no editing room, no TLC producer to shape the narrative, no confessional chair where she can cry about betrayal. The cameras have turned. The court has the script. And Robyn Brown is finally learning what it feels like when the story no longer belongs to her. The sunlit filters of Instagram faded into something far more solemn this week as a Sister Wives star, known for her strength, grace under pressure, and quiet endurance through years of family drama, took to social media to share a gut-wrenching, raw revelation that immediately sent shockwaves through fans and followers alike. She's been battling a rare and aggressive form of cancer, one that required not only radiation therapy, but also a major surgery that changed her life in more ways than one. For months, viewers had speculated that something wasn't quite right. Perhaps it was the weight loss, the absence from events, or the faint shadows behind her normally vibrant smile. But in a heartbreaking video, framed by soft lighting and tissues crumpled at her side, she bravely pulled back the curtain. "I didn't want to say anything until I had answers," she began, her voice steady, but her eyes filled with pain. "I was scared. I still am. But it's time I let you in on what's really been going on." And with that, the mask dropped. She revealed that she had been diagnosed with a rare form of paraganglioma, a neuroendocrine tumor so uncommon that doctors had initially missed it. It wasn't until the unrelenting migraines, racing heart, and strange fatigue became impossible to ignore that further testing revealed the truth. The tumor had been growing silently, dangerously close to vital organs. "I thought I was just stressed," she said. "We've all been through so much in this family. But this wasn't stress. This was something deeper. Something scarier." The road to diagnosis was brutal. Misdiagnoses, referrals, scans, more scans. A biopsy that left her bruised for days. And then the words that no one is ever ready to hear. "You have cancer." Not just any cancer, but the kind that wraps around nerves, whispers through blood vessels, and ignores traditional treatments. Her doctors were blunt. Radiation would be necessary, and quickly. "I remember sitting in that cold room," she said, tears finally spilling down her cheeks, "thinking about my kids. Wondering if I'd live long enough to see grandkids. Wondering if this was how my story ended." She underwent targeted radiation therapy, 5 days a week for several weeks, an exhausting cycle that left her weak, nauseous, and emotionally drained. The therapy aimed to shrink the tumor just enough to make surgical removal possible, but there were no guarantees. And then came the surgery. A 6-hour procedure with a team of specialists in Arizona. She described the fear of going under, not knowing what they'd find, and the sobering moment when she awoke in recovery with monitors beeping and pain radiating through her body. "They got it," she said with a soft smile. "They got the tumor. It's gone. But the healing, physically, emotionally, is just beginning." The star, whose name the network is temporarily withholding for privacy as filming adjusts, said her decision to speak publicly now wasn't just about her. It was about encouraging early screenings, listening to your body, and speaking up when something feels off. "We share everything on this show," she said. "Our heartbreaks, our divorces, our breakdowns. But this is real life. This is bigger than Coyote Pass. This is about life and death." The response was overwhelming. Thousands of fans flooded her inbox and comment section with prayers, love, and support. Janelle reposted the video with a broken heart emoji and the words, "She's the strongest woman I know. Please keep her in your thoughts."